ततः किं ततः किं ततः किं विदेशेषु मान्यः स्वदेशेषु धन्यः सदाचारवृत्तेषु मत्तो न चान्यः गुरोरङ्घ्रि पद्मे मनश्चेन लग्नं ततः किं ततः किं ततः किं ततः किम् न योगे न भोगे न वाजिराजो न कान्ता सुखे नैव वित्तेषु चित्तम् गुरोरङ्घ्रि पद्मे मनश्चेन लग्नं ततः किं ततः किं ततः किं ततः किम् अरण्येन वासस्य गेहेन कार्ये न देहे मनो वैतते मे त्वनैघे गुरोरङ्घ्रि पद्मे मनश्चेन लग्नं ततः किं ततः किं ततः किं ततः किम् व्याप्तचराचर भावविशेषं चिन्मयमेकमनन्तमनादिं भैरवनाथमनाथ शरण्यं त्वन्मयचित्ततया हृदि वन्दे तन्मयमेतदशेषमिदानीं भाति मम त्वदनुग्रहशक्त्या त्वं च महेश सदैव ममात्मा स्वात्ममयं मम ते न समस्तम् अन्तकमां प्रतिमां दृशमेना क्रोधकरालतमां विनिधेहि शङ्करसेवनचिन्तनधीरो भीषणभैरवशक्तिमयोऽस्मि व्याप्तचराचर भावविशेषं चिन्मयमेकमनन्तमनादिं भैरवनाथमनाथ शरण्यं त्वन्मयचित्ततया हृदि वन्दे शङ्कर सत्यमिदं व्रतदाना तानतपो भवतापविदारी तावक शास्त्रपरामृतचिन्ता यन्दति चेतसि निर्वृत्तिधारम् नृत्यति गायति हृष्यति गाढं संविधियं मम भैरवनाथ त्वां प्रियमाप्यसुदर्शनमेकं दुर्लभमन्यजने समयज्ञम् व्याप्तचराचर भावविशेषं चिन्मयमेकमनन्तमनादिं भैरवनाथमनाथ शरण्यं त्वन्मयचित्ततया हृदि वन्दे
My Shat Shat Naman to Mata Bimla who gave birth to the pride of Kashmir, Mahamaheshwaracharya Abhinav Gupta, a great yogi, polymath, and an outstanding acharya of Shaiva philosophy. Mahamaheshwaracharya Abhinav Gupta was an incarnation of Lord Shiva, who himself appeared in Kashmir to enlighten the people. To know more about this great son of Kashmir, today we have with us Sri Kapil Kapoorji. Sri Kapil Kapoorji is an Indian scholar of linguistics and literature and an authority on Indian intellectual traditions. He is a former pro-vice chancellor of Jawaharlal Nehru University and served as a professor at the Center for Linguistics and English and at the Center for Sanskrit Studies before retiring in 2005. Welcome, Sri Kapil Kapoorji.
Jyoti ji, first Dr. Surendra Mishra wanted to introduce. Surendra Mishra ji, can you unmute your mic and do the honors?
Will the Mercy Tirupati Swami speak first?
Yeah.
Is he
Swamiji
present?
wants to say a few words.
Acha, okay. So now so namaskar to everyone. Today is the 7th day of the week-long program on Mahamayeshwara of Abhinava Gupta ji's anniversary celebration. So we have with us Professor R.S. Tripathi, now Brahmarshi Tirupati Swamiji, the Chancellor of Gau Gita University in Tirupati. So now I request him, he's a man of Visishtadvaita Vedanta and all the Vedanta systems, Bhagavata and Gita and the Rig Veda particularly, where from he calls all the knowledge stock and makes it flow up to our times. That he holds so many positions. And now I request Brahmarshi Tirupati Swamiji to kindly present his benedictions at the beginning of this 7th day function, this celebration by Himalayan Heritage Foundation and the Kashmiri Pandits Association and the Sarnishwara Mahadeva Mandira Samsthana of Kurukshetra. So now I request Brahmarshi Tirupati Swami. Sir, kindly, are you here, Swamiji? Swamiji? Sunilji, please contact Swamiji if he is there.
No, I couldn't see Swamiji here.
Okay, then, so now as Madam has already introduced Professor Kapil Kapoor, he is a known person in the field of Indian, our Indian culture and Indian tradition of knowledge. तो भारतीय ज्ञान परंपरा में प्रोफेसर कपिल कपूर जी का चिंतन अद्वितीय स्थान रखता है। आज अगर जवाहरलाल नेहरू विश्वविद्यालय में एक विशिष्ट संस्कृत अध्ययन केंद्र है, उसका सूत्रपात आचार्य कपिल कपूर जी ने ही अपने समर्थ हाथों से किया था। अब और वह एक विशिष्ट केंद्र के रूप में आज बहुत बड़ा अवदान दे रहा है। मैं उनसे नम्र प्रार्थना करता हूं इस सभा के पक्ष से कि आज अपने प्रमुख वक्ता के रूप में आज सभी का उद्बोधन करे महामाहेश्वर आचार्य अभिनव गुप्ता जी की कृपा। तो उसके जो है वो आज मुख्य वक्ता के रूप में हमारा मार्गदर्शन करेंगे प्रोफेसर कपिल कपूर। नाउ कल अपन प्रोफेसर कपिल कपूर सर प्लीज।
सबको नमस्कार। थोड़ा ढलती हुई शाम है और दिन भर दिन बीतने वाला है, तो थोड़ा at my age, I am 81 plus. At my age, I think by evening there is a little what should I say, fatigue or maybe even disillusionment with life throughout the day that you live through at this age. And therefore you will perhaps bear with me that I may not be in my normal speech mode, although I'll try that I can recover my spirit and get into the discussion. I've been asked to speak on Acharya Abhinav Gupta ji's commentary on Rasa, particularly Rasa Sutra 632 in Natya Shastra, and specifically that, but in general about Rasa theory, about Rasa theory. I think before I get into the specifics of what Abhinav Gupta ji, the extension that he did to Bharat's Natya Shastra, I first say a few things about Ras itself, the genealogy of Ras, This term, comes from chemistry, where Ras is the name for mercury. Mercury is a word used for mercury. And mercury is mercurial, it slips from your hands. And in the same way, the Ras experience, any experience of Rasa, is also transitory, and you cannot hold on to it because it is not something to be held on to. It is something which appears at a point of time in life or in art experience, and then it goes. It's not something like a pen or a book which you can hold on. Therefore, it's from rasa in chemistry. This word came to cooking. And in cooking, there are 6 rasa in food, like sweet, sour, salty, bitter, tangy, and astringent. So these are the rasas in food. खट्टे, मीठे, नमकीन और तीखे, या क्या कहना चाहिए, मिर्च वाले बहुत ज्यादा, जो आप एक्सेप्ट नहीं कर पाते. So from chemistry to food, and from food to art, to natya, natak, drama particularly, Bharat in the context of Natya Shastra, in the Natya is from Nat. Nat is a performer. You must have seen a person who ties a rope and with the bamboos on 2 sides, and then he walks on that rope with a bamboo in his hand. He is the mool nat. Nat means a performer. And natya is a performance, an enactment, some performance, some enactment. And from natya, we go to natak, drama which is enacted. And in that nataka, the experience, the art experience, aesthetic experience is of different kinds. And depending on the theme, depending on the quality of performers, depending on the quality of music, the quality of dance, the appropriateness of the objects on the stage, the auditors, those who view the natak, those who see the natak, they experience different kinds of emotional, not really emotional, but they undergo states of being. I'm not saying states of mind. These are states of being. Rasa has been translated by T.S. Eliot either as sentiment or as emotion. But I don't think that Ras can be adequately translated as an emotion or a sentiment. Because when one is, let's say, one is suffers grief and one has compassion, or when one is very happy and there is a great joy, we can't locate it in a particular part of the body. We can't say this is an emotion. It is here that I am feeling happy or feeling sad. Where are you? Where does one feel? Where does one feel, experience grief? In the face, in the hands, in the mind, in the heart, or the whole body, in fact, the whole self of a person is involved in deep experiences of life, deep experiences. I must say that Rasa theory, although it's one of the 5 major, although there are 7 in all, 5 major theories of literature in Indian poetics, but it is not only a theory of, it is not just a theory of literature. In fact, it has been drawn from life, from human experience. And this is one of the things that Abhinav Gupta ji, in his commentary, foregrounds, that the different rasas are natural tendencies of human beings. He has, for example, he says that each one of us has a desire for happiness, desire for joy, desire for beauty, desire for love. So Shringar is the first rasa. And when it is blocked, when it is blocked, when it is blocked, we have the karuna, the sad, the compassion. And when it is successful, we have the hasya, happiness. And when the experience is not is obstructed completely, and you are not allowed to have even a moment of that experience, then you are angry, and you have the raudra, you become angry. And anger, because anger arises from something which causes fear, that blocking of an experience causes fear. So you have bhayanaka. And if it is very, very disturbing, then it is vibhatsa. It's something which you find unable to accept, unable to see. And in the same sense, something which is unusual, something which is unusual can be marvelous, can be a cause of wonder, and adbhuta. So Abhinav Gupta ji explains that the different, what we call different rasas in art experience, they are in fact the inherent tendencies of human beings. And it is the inherent tendencies of human beings, which means also that the eight rasa that are enumerated by Bharat, eight ras that are enumerated by him, they are not only a matter of art, they are a matter of life. For example, the uh, Shringar, love, or grief, or something which is a source of happiness. This is what happens in life. Chekhov has a story, Grief. Chekhov has a story, Grief, in which there is a cab driver, and that cab driver's wife is no more, but he has a small son, a very small son his wife leaves behind. He brings up that son with great love and care, and hopes that one day, when he grows up, he will drive the cab, and he as an old man will rest. The boy grows up, he becomes about 20 or 21, and he starts driving the cab. And the old man is very happy that his dream has become fulfilled. But after 1 month, you see, that boy contracts some fever and he dies. And the old man is devastated. And the story begins, it is in Moscow, it is evening time, and it is snowing. And the cab driver, he's sitting in his cab, Iona Potapov, Iona, he is sitting in his cab, totally immobile. There is snow, but he doesn't even shake. He doesn't even try to shake off the snow. The snow is, falling on him, and he is totally immobile. And then some client comes and knocks him on his shoulder and says, "Hey, where are you lost? Will you take me to the station?" He said, "Yes, my son died." He said, "Everyone has to die. Come on, sit down. I'm sitting down. Take me there." Then from the station, he picks up another client. And as he drives, he turns around and says, "My son died." He says, "Look ahead, otherwise you will kill me and yourself also." Like this, he tries to tell his story. He tries to share his grief with many people, but nobody really listens. Nobody listens. Then finally, he tells his story to his horse. Now, this immobility of this man, when the story begins, you see, Anna Potapov, he is immobile because of his grief. His grief. The experience of grief is inner. It is an inner experience. But outwardly, it is expressed in various ways. It is expressed in immobility in the case of Aina, but in the case of other people, in case of such an experience, somebody will start crying, somebody will knock his head in against the wall, somebody will tumble down on the ground and writhe on the ground. because people react to an experience in different ways. The Trigunatmak Prakriti, you see, Sattvic, Rajasic, Tamasic, depending on which category the person, the, the protagonist belongs, to which category. If he is a Sattvic person, he will simply fall silent in grief. I have actually seen this thing happen. The person will fall silent. And if he is Rajasic, he will make lot of, crying and this and that. And a Tamasic, he will roll on the ground. He will hit his head against the wall. People will try to hold him back. So the grief finds how do you when you see a man sitting immobile, or when you see a man grieving, you begin, the observer realizes that this person is suffering from grief. How does he realize? He doesn't know what has happened to him, but how does he realize that this person is suffering from grief? It is from his external appearance, his posture, his general disposition. You see, that is called anubhava, the manifestation of the inner emotion, manifestation of the inner emotion. So if a child has a very happy news, if the child has happy news, he will jump around and he will circle around and say, oh, I got these many marks, I got these many marks. And from his dancing and jumping, you will know that he is very happy. And from the immobility of Aina, we know that Aina is suffering from grief. So what happens? What is the process? What is this? There is an event, something happens, death happens, and it happens to someone. It happens to someone. It happens to a young man. It happens to son of Aina Potapov. And it happens in a particular context. And that context is youth. That the son who dies is young. If it were a 1-month-old baby, and if he had died, the grief will not be so much. But because he's a young man and he is now become a help to his father, when he dies, the grief is too much. Grief is intense grief. So an event, that is some event is made up of some person who suffers something that happens, and what happens is in a context. There are Sanskrit terms for this in Natya Shastra. You see, there is Udipan, there is Alamban, there is a Vishay, and there is a Ashray. Someone who suffers, the cause of suffering and the context of suffering, Udipan. So in life it happens, something happens, and it leaves an impact on you. And the impact is inner, always inside you. But once you suffer something deep, if it is something casual, it makes no difference. But there are some deep experiences, like experience what he called the sthai bhavas. Sthai bhavas, relatively stable experiences, states of being, which are like, death and love and, disappointment, separation from somebody, separation from something. When these things happen, they leave a deep impact and they last for a long time. As you know, the rasa structure in Natya Shastra, there is bhava. Bhav is from the bhu dhatu, which means to be, that is being, something which comes into being. Something which comes into being because something happens and something comes into being. And that is bhava. And that bhava has, when it is of a particular kind, when it is intense, it becomes a sthai bhava. And this bhava is strengthened by memories, for example. You see, for example, in this kind of case, you see, he will remember that when my son was a child, this is a sad subject. I don't want to extrapolate too much on it. But in life, we notice that when something like that happens to somebody, and that somebody is totally loses her mind or his mind, then people and becomes a stone. That is, people become like a stone. Such a shocking experience, but instead of crying, they become stone. Now people try to make them cry, and they try to make them cry by reminding them of the childhood, the youth, and the other things of that person. You remember when he did this, you remember when he, and then suddenly the person who has lost his child, that person bursts out, and all the suppressed feelings, they come out. So the auxiliary bhavas, memory is one of them. From memory, whatever happens, it reinforces your experience. And no, these are bhavas. But bhavas, what is rasa? For example, shok, grief is a bhava, sthai bhava. Shok is a sthai bhava. And uh, karuna, compassion is the rasa. Now let's hold on to this and try to understand, what these learned great minds, the rishis, have said about this thing. Now, first of all, uh, Bharat does not include Sthai Bhav in his Rasa Sutra. In his Rasa Sutra, he has only Vibhav, Anubhav, Vyabhichari Bhava. Vibhava is the event, something that happens. And Anubhav is the manifestation of that, external manifestation of that. Like death of a son is Vibhava, and immobility of Aina Potapov is the Anubhava. And Vyabhichari are the auxiliary emotions which reinforce this main emotion. As I said, like for example, memory and other things. So he only says Vibhav, Anubhav, Sanchari, Bhag, Sanyogad, Ras Nishpatti. Ras Nishpatti. Ras ki Nishpatti hoti hai. Ras comes into being. Now this raises a question. What is Ras? What is Ras? Let's say, for example, Shringara. From Rati, from love, the love is the Sthai Bhava, and Shringara. Shringar is, Abhinav Gupta ji explains it as something effulgent and pure and effulgent. Shringar Ras, he says, is not among lesser kind of human beings. It is only in young, beautiful, noble, pure two persons that Shringar Ras can appear. The kind of love, the attachment, the attraction, and it is lifelong. It is not something which terminates with a physical experience, into a physical experience, and it terminates. Abhinav Gupta says, no, that is not Shringara. Then that is, more or less like burlesque. But the Shringara is a long-lasting love, like that of Radha and Krishna. When you remember, Krishna left Vrindavan when he was only 11 years old, and he never went back. He never met Radha. But through centuries, the Samaj, the society, has celebrated their love. First of all, Radha Krishna. They made a conjunction, Radha Krishna. And then from there, Radhe Radhe. Rajneesh ji, aap aa gaye hain? रजनीश जी नमस्कार. ये तो आपका विषय है, अब मुझे तो बोलना नहीं चाहिए इस पे, ये तो आपका विषय है. तो चलिए, you see, I was saying that the kind of love that is Shringari, is the love of like that of Radha and Krishna, who never met there. But then the Samaj, as I said, through history, 5,000 years, they have remembered that pure relationship by through linguistically expressed, first as a conjunction, that is Radha Krishna, compound, and then Radhe Krishna, that is possessive, Radha Ka Krishna, and then Radhe Radhe. Krishna is no longer there, Radhe Radhe. And it is all submerged in Radha. And if you visit some of the temples, in Dwarka, and the place you find that in the pathway inside the temple, behind the Garbhagriha, but behind where the Murti is there, you see, you have Radha there. You have Radha's image in the temple, but not Rukmani's image. So I used to advise married people not to go there, see, because they will be disturbed by that kind of expression. It is difficult to understand that how that experience, that relationship is so noble and eternal, long lasting, that even in the temples it is positioned there like that, positioned there like that. In Dwarka, you find that in the Dwarkadhish temple, Radha is inside. Rukmani temple is 3 kilometers away, 2 kilometers away. You can see there. So the Samaj has celebrated it, and it is a unrequited love. It's a love between two Shringari individuals. Shringari individuals, maybe socially not acceptable, but pure, pure and eternal and long lasting. Later on, once Rukmani asks Devaki, the mother of Krishna, that who is this Radha? So the mother says, why are you asking? She says, even in sleep, Krishna often utters the name of Radha. So she says, the mother Devaki says, I will someday explain to you. But let me tell you one thing. Even on hearing Radha's name, Krishna goes into Mahabhava. He goes into a trance. Even on hearing the name, he goes into a trance. And ages have passed. And it's another Puranic narrative which is there is that once all the Vrindavan Gopalas, the Gopals, the people who गौशाला जो चलाते थे सारी, वो लोग गोपाल उनको कहते थे, गोपाल और गोपिका, they all visit Dwarka, they go to Dwarka कि भाई हमारा लड़का राजा बन गया है, द्वारकाधीश बन गया है, चलिए उनको मिल के आते हैं. They go there and Krishna learns that they have come, and he knows that Radha has also come, but he cannot openly say this. So he tells Rukmani that look, these people from Vrindavan have come. They are very fond of drinking boiled milk, or because they nurture cows, they are very fond of drinking milk. So tomorrow you serve hot milk to all of them. Rukmani understands that who he has in mind. Of course, everybody, but then Radha. So next day he goes with a hot glass of milk, boiling milk, and she offers it to Radha and says, Krishna ne kaha hai ke pee lo. And Radha hadbada ke, so that boiling milk she drinks in a quaff, because of she's disturbed, shaken by Rukmani saying, Krishna ne kaha hai ke ye pee lo. And she says, next morning, Krishna does not get up from the bed. And Rukmani comes again and again. Why are you unwell? Do you have fever? Why haven't you got up? He says, no, I am all right. I'll get up. And 3 times she comes, and then he says, wait, and then 4th time he says, okay, yesterday you gave boiling milk to Radha. I live in her heart and see, मेरे पैरों में छाले पड़ गए हैं. तुमने उबलता हुआ दूध पिलाया और मेरे पैरों में छाले पड़ गए हैं. This was the kind of love. This is the kind of love that, according to Abhinav Gupta, the description is a Shringar, effulgent and pure, total samarpan, complete samarpan, arpan and samarpan, complete. Now, the sense of purity, effulgence, when you see this, read this story, when you hear this, there is an awareness of a certain effulgence, purity. Now this comes to the hearer here, to the auditor in a drama, to the reader of a story. It comes in a moment and then it goes. It depends on how deeply it affects you. But is ras an object? Is it a padarth? Does it really come into being? I mean, for the moment, you mean that there you can point out that this is that ras, this is that Shringar ras. Can you point it out? Is it produced? Is it manifested? The person who experiences compassion, let us say, does it manifest itself as such and different from other feelings? No, it is only felt. It is anubhita. It is something which is experienced momentarily. Suddenly it matures. From the events it matures and it becomes for a moment and then it disappears. It goes. So ras is not a padarth and it is not produced. It is not manifested. Then somebody asks then what kind of an object it is? It has no adhar. It doesn't have an alamban. We don't know where it is based. Where is it? Where does it exist? It doesn't exist. It only comes into being and goes. It's like, any action, time. It is temporal. It's not spatial at all. And Abhinav Gupta says that yes, there are many, many major concepts which have no alamban, which don't have an adhar. In fact, in Kumaril Bhatt's Shloka Vartik, there is a whole chapter on Niralamban Vada. Things that don't have an alamban, have a base, have an adhar, but are real. For example, E is equal to mc square. Can you see it somewhere? Energy is equal to mass multiplied by velocity raised to the power 2. Can you ever see it? Can it exist? Is it a product? No, it's a pure concept and it may come into being sometime. We don't know. When, for example, we don't know in the distant cosmos, when one star moves out of the firmament and when one star breaks, this may come into being, but we don't know. So it's like E is equal to mc square is a niralambana concept. It doesn't have a adhar. In the same way, ras is also a niralamban concept. It's not a padarth, it is not produced, it is not manifest, but it is experienced. It is experienced, anubhit. Now, who experiences ras? Who experiences ras? Imagine, let's say, look at the performances of Ram Leela. Ram Leela, before Diwali, in every village in North India at least, in every village and town, there is a performance of Ram's story, Ram Leela. It is performed. And in the village, people of the village, every year they see it. And yet they go every year and see it. The same thing. Bharat Milap देखेंगे, दशरथ का शोक देखेंगे, जब राम को जंगल में जाना है और दशरथ की जो दुर्दशा है वो देखने जाते हैं, हर साल देखते हैं, हर साल उनका एक नया स्वरूप होता है, क्योंकि शायद परफॉर्मर अलग है या अगर परफॉर्मर वही है तो उसका इस साल उसको वो बात और समझ आई है, वो दुख ज्यादा समझ आया है दशरथ का, who performs Dashrath. So they know that the man is in fact the village dhobi, village washerman, but he is performing the role of Dashrath. And how well he performs will determine that people will forget that he is the village washerman and they will see only Dashrath and his sorrow. To enact. Now see, and we all feel compassion for Dashrath. The viewers, they feel compassion, which is a rasa. We feel compassion, but Dashrath, what does he experience? What does he experience? Do you think that you can say that Dashrath also experiences compassion? What happens to somebody? What happens to Dashrath? Something happens which causes grief. So the sthai bhava is in the experiencer. in the experiencer only in the experiencer. The poet who wrote the story then, Valmiki, his greatness, grandeur lies in capturing that experience in words, And the grandeur of the actor lies in capturing that experience of grief in through his enactment performer. I think of there is a novel in English, Tom Jones by Fielding, and Tom Jones and Partridge, they are coming back after seeing a Hamlet performance. It is an 18th century novel, and at that time in England, there was a famous actor, an actor famous for performing Shakespeare roles, Garrick, Garrick. Garrick was a great actor for Shakespeare plays, just as in modern days, Richard Burton, the husband of Elizabeth, Lisa. No, Richard Burton is known for his performance of Macbeth. In the same way, Garrick was known as a great Shakespeare performer. So when they are coming back, Partridge is praising different actors. Oh, that person, that lady, how well she acted the part of Hamlet's mother, and that gentleman, how well he acted, the role of the role of the grave digger, and like that this and this actor, that actor. But Tom Jones says, but of course, no greater acting than of Garrick in his performance of Hamlet. The Garrick की जो एक्टिंग थी, गैरिक ने जो परफॉर्मेंस इनेक्टमेंट की हेमलेट की, वो सबसे बढ़िया एक्टिंग थी. यू नो व्हाट पार्ट्रिज से, उसमें क्या एक्टिंग है? किसी भी जिसका भी पिता की मृत्यु होगी वो वैसे ही करेगा जैसे वो कर रहा था. Where is the acting in that? In Garrick, anybody who loses his father will behave like that. Now that's a great tribute given to Garrick the actor. People forget that he is acting. In the same way, I don't know how many of you have seen 1945 film Meera, in which Subbalakshmi, M.S. Subbalakshmi acted, the role of Meera. M.S. Subbalakshmi was a 16-year-old girl at that time. She was radiantly beautiful, and her classical singing and her voice was an orchestra. The whole orchestra was in her throat. And she sings in that film Meera's bhajans, and she enacts the role of Meera. At the end, and that film is like an epic. It begins slowly with the childhood of Meera, and gradually it picks up, and there is a crescendo at the end when the light, a blob of light, the Atma of Meera goes and merges with Krishna at the end, and her body drops down. That is the crescendo. But if only when you see the film from the beginning and don't skip, then you have the epic effect, the crescendo. In the crescendo, M.S. Subbalakshmi, who is playing Meera in her great song, the great bhajan that she is singing, and the crescendo in that bhajan, I can tell you, I saw that film 5 times. And every time when we reach that crescendo, you forget that you are watching a film. You forget it is M.S. Subbalakshmi. You only think that it is Meera herself. And after that film, an observation was made that Meera, 16th century princess, a Rathore princess, married to a Sisodia king, the two of the finest dynasties of Rajputs. A Rathore princess married to Sisodia Ratan Singh, you see, who tells her husband that I did not take the pheras with you, I didn't marry you, I married this Krishna, the small idol she carried. And he accepts it. He says, all right, you do your bhajan and you do, but you permit me to marry because I have to carry on the legacy. There has to be a son who will become the king next. She agrees, but she stays there as the Patarani, as the elder queen, till Ratan Singh one day, carried away by the people, expels her from Mewar, from Chittor, and then she walks to Vrindavan, and from Vrindavan she meets Rup Goswami, who were the author of that Bhakti Rasa. Sorry, just a minute. You will forgive me for a moment. There is somebody at the door and I have to open it. And hello, come. So, so I was saying that, you see, in that performance you forget. So this is the goal, the goal of performance, goal of you see, even writing in words, writing the story, even writing in words is an enactment. You are enacting something. You are representing something. Well, that is why one of the contributions of Abhinav Gupta to Ras theory is that he extended the Ras theory from Natya to whole Kavya. That the Ras is not only in a drama, but it is also in poems and in stories and in novels and all that. Because it's a very, very a little difficult to grasp, but a very important point, that why people think that it is only Natya which has ras and not this. Because when you write in words, you write about something which is not present before you, not present. It is paroksha. But when you are watching a play, then it is pratyaksha. So you directly see. But when you are reading a play, then you know it's like through the words, reaching the event through words. And the success of the writer lies in making it possible for you to experience the original experience. And Abhinav Gupta in one of his discussions, he says that there is no difference between pratyaksha jnana and paroksha jnana. You see, and such a beautiful explanation he gives. He says that actually horse, you see a horse, living horse, you see the picture of a horse, or you hear the word horse, and you picture the horse in the mind very clearly. Now, in all the three cases, the actual living horse, the picture of the horse, and evoking a horse by hearing the word horse, all the three, the comprehension lies in the images which are created in your mind. When you see a horse, you don't see that horse. You see the image of that horse in your mind. That's when your eyes, the screen behind your eyes. That is why the same object will appear different to different people. Somebody will say, what a lovely color, what a lovely horse, what a strong horse. So they will say, no, it's not strong, it's not lovely. In fact, a black horse looks much better than a brown horse. So everyone creates his own horse, whether when you actually see a horse, or when you see the picture of a horse, or when you hear the word horse. All of us create the horse in our mind's eye. That is what Wordsworth's expression. In your mind's eye, you create the image. Therefore, there is no difference between watching the performance or reading a poem and reading a story. It depends on the success in representation of either the poet, the actor, or the writer of a story. So now I come to the question: who experiences rasa? You see, who experiences rasa? It is experienced by whom? Is it experienced by by the person who experiences it. Does Aina Potapov experience compassion, karuna, or he only experiences grief, shok? You see, it's a very tricky question, because even in the case of the experiencer, when the experience becomes too deep and too intense, and over a period of time, the grief will give birth to compassion even in the sufferer, and he will have better understanding of the grief of other people if he comes across any. So the experiencer himself, the sufferer himself, also experiences rasa. It may come late, it may gradually mature, but it does. Does the poet, does Valmiki writing Valmiki Ramayana, does he experience the grief of Dasharatha? Does he experience it? He has to experience it if he has to represent it. He has to. The कवि का शोक जो है वो दशरथ के शोक के नजदीक नहीं होगा, सहृदया, unless the same kind of experience is felt in the heart. The poet cannot write it, cannot represent that. And then the actor reads what the poet has written, and the actor has to, from those words, he has to reach the shok, the grief of Dasharatha, and then perform anubhavas, perform, so that from his performance, the people understand, people reach the experience of grief. They know he is a village washerman is performing Dasharath and is lying on the ground and not speaking, and he does it such a way that the viewers know that Dasharath is suffering grief from the actor's performance. And the more true the performance is, the greater is the performance, and greater is the chance of even the auditor experiencing the rasa. In auditor, certainly, but then Abhinav Gupta talks about many hindrances. If I am watching a play or a film, and something very sad or something happens, if I am in a different frame of mind, I may not empathize with that grief. I may not. So there are 9 kinds of hindrances that Abhinav Gupta mentions. So that is why the auditor, the viewer, has to be a sahridaya. I have to be, in order to experience what Aina Potapov felt, I have to have the same quality of heart as Aina Potapov himself. I have to have the same quality of heart. So it is possible for the experiencer, for the poet, and for the actor, and for the auditor. All the 4 can experience ras. But then it is a momentary experience. It is something they feel. It comes here. It is not something they can see, something they can show you. It is not something that they can show, or they can feel or touch or hold. It is not something, an object. It is not an object. It is a niralambana. It has no adhar. That is why, many times people say, I cannot tell you in words what I feel. I cannot tell you. I cannot what I feel, I cannot communicate. I cannot communicate to anyone. So the ras experience, ras is a category which is niralamban, and it is not an object. It is not something produced and then manifested. It is not manifested. It is an experiential category. But once you experience it, then the whole world opens out. Once we experience the grief of Dasharatha, then the whole world of Ramayana, of Kekai, Kaushalya, Sumitra, Rama, Lakshmana, Bharata, who comes and then he mourns. The entire world will open up only if we feel here the grief that Dasharath suffers and the reasons for that. So there is one as a category. Now, one more thing should be clear. Aina Patapov is a cab driver. Well, what his experience is, we see it as a literary experience. But then that kind of thing happens in real life also. In real life, it happens. So, Rasa is not only an experience in art, it is an experience in human life. When it happens in life, you see somebody suffering, you feel his grief, and you experience compassion. And but then what is the difference between life and drama or life and literature? What is the difference? The difference is abhinay, enactment, performance. In life, in life, the experience cannot be repeated. Cannot be repeated. There is no second show or a midnight show. But when it is a film or if it is a nataka, it can be repeated. It is repeated. It happens more than once. And it happens with different people. चलायमान है, चलायमान है, हमेशा बदलता रहता है, बदलता रहता है. नाटक है या फिल्म है, जो आर्ट है, उसी के ऊपर बाण भट्ट ने भी रामायण लिखी, दूसरों ने भी रामायण लिखी, सब ने अपनी अपनी तरह से रिप्रेजेंटेशन किया. So it is a variable, momentary, changeable experience, and yet everyone is trying to reach that original experience of Dasharatha. And the quality of writers, the quality of actors varies according to how much close they are to the original experience. As I was saying, in that Meera film, at the end, I forget I am watching a film. I forget it is Subbalakshmi. I just see Meera and I just see Krishna and original, nothing else. And I will invite you also, people, if you have not seen the film, to see it, particularly the crescendo part, you see. And what voice, what grief in the voice, and what and क्या कहते हैं, entreaty. She entreats, she begs Krishna that you must come. Can you give me up? She asks. Can you give me up? हमें क्या त्याग सकोगे तुम? And she says that you have to now, it is my last appeal to you. Will you not heed it? And of course, Kapil Kapoor speaking in English and with his gross voice is one thing. And M.S. Subbalakshmi singing Meera's bhajan in her voice, in her orchestral symphonic voice, is a different experience. And that the quality of song, the quality of poem, the quality of the sounds of the temple bells that are there around you, they reinforce your experience, and you have that experience of great, not only compassion for Meera, but also a great devotion. You have a sacred compassion, if one can put it that way, a kind of sacred compassion for Meera's experience in life. So, human experience, Ras is a literary theory. There are 5 major literary theories, Rasa, Alankar, Riti, and Vakrokti, and Shringar, Rasa, Dhwani, Riti, Alankar, Dhwani, and then Auchitya, and then Gunadosha. I think I have left out one. And you can always forgive an 81-year-old man to have some forgetfulness. I have left out one. I'll have to see, but then it's all right. Of those 6 stories or 7 theories, they are called Siddhanta in our language. The Kavya ke Siddhanta. The Rasa is the first one. And when Bharat is enumerating the elements of drama, Rasa is the first one. There are 11 elements of drama, and Rasa is the first. And because the entire meaning of a text is Rasa. Rasa is the meaning of a text. Ras is the meaning. Now, for example, there is an English poem most of us must have read. I am mentioning two poems of Wordsworth. One is Solitary Reaper. There is a lady who is reaping grass alone by herself in a valley. Solitary Reaper. And there is another poem, Michael. You see, where the father and son, they are building a penthouse up on the hill, and with stones, carrying stones there, and they are very poor, and they have many debts. They can't pay the debts. So the son says, I will go to London, I will earn the money, and I will send you the money, and then we can repay the tax, then I will come back. Now he is the only child, so the father is very disturbed. He says, how will I let you, how can I let you go? But apparently you have to go. He said, don't worry, I will write to you every day, every day. So he goes to London. In the beginning, there is a letter every day. Then there is a letter every week. Then there is a letter every month. Then there is a letter after 6 months. And then there is no letter. And time passes. And Michael rolls the stone up alone by himself. But the stone is so heavy, it comes back. And like Sisyphus, his sorrows and his effort, they go together. Say like Sisyphus narrative in the Greek narrative. So, now if you read the poem and don't feel the sorrow of Michael, and you say it's a lovely poem, there is a father, there is a son, and the son goes to London, and then, he forgets his parents. If you narrate it like this, you think you have got the poem's meaning? No. It is only when you say this poem is about the great sorrow of a suffering father. That is the meaning. So rasa is the meaning. Rasa ही अर्थ है. नाटक का, काव्य का, स्टोरी का, नवल का, सबका रस ही अर्थ है. And that's not only in literature, in life also, in everything. The essence, unless you get the essence, you have lost. You have lost a lot of it if you don't get the essence of everything. That's why Taittiriya Upanishad says, Raso Vaisa. Everything is rasa. Ultimately, everything is rasa. It's the rasa of that. In our common parlance, we see something, हम कहें बड़ा रस आया है. आज ये बातें सुन के बड़ा रस आया है, बड़ा अच्छा लगा है. Now this, every experience leaves that impact on the self, impact on the self. Chitta vritti. In fact, Abhinav Gupta calls all the rasas as chitta vritti swarupa. They are the chitta. Now, chitta is something which is used as an alternative for atma. Atma के alternative पुरुष भी है, चित्त भी है, चित्ती भी है. और चित्त vritti are the thought waves as translated by a Ramakrishna Mission sannyasi. The vrittis are the thought waves in the mind, thought waves. You see, so the different rasas, Shringara, Karuna, and then Hasya, then Raudra, then Veera, then Bhyanaka, then Vibhatsa, and then Adbhuta. These are the 8 rasas enumerated by Bharat. And each of these, now this is a very interesting thing. According to Abhinav Gupta, they are human latencies. They are these are all inbuilt a priori tendencies in human beings. And because it begins with everyone loves to be happy, loves happiness, loves joy. Everyone wants to be happy, wants to have joy. So that is the beginning. And when it is fulfilled, there is hasya. When it ceases, an end is there, then there is karuna, there is shoka, grief. And when it is obstructed, there is anger. Like this. Abhinav Gupta explains all the 8 rasas as beginning with Shringara, how one after the other, these are the one ras is blocked by another and so on. 4 of these are akalishta, no klesha. You see, for example, Shringara, Hasya, Veera, and Adbhuta. These 4 are aklisht. They don't cause any suffering to you. But the other four are klishta. Other four, karuna and raudra, bhayanaka, vibhitsa, vibhatsa. They trouble you. They trouble you. So four are aklisht, four are klisht. And one ras can yield to another. Mind you, in any experience, there is not only one rasa. That one rasa is the primary dominant rasa, but there are other rasas there. Auxiliary experiences are there, and all of them together constitute the dominant experience. So, in Aina Potapov, for example, it is not only the death of the son, the grief, but also what people talk about, what he remembers about his childhood, his memories and other things. They are also there. And he talks about them when he talks to the horse. He talks of so many things about his child, when he was a child, when he grew up, and when he became a young man, and when he started driving the cab, and what happened, and so on. So, totality of experience is a complex of emotions. It's not a single, but there is one which is dominant, and it is identical. All Indian literature in all Indian languages, the great Indian literature is Karuna Rasa Pradhana. The Karuna, sadness, separation, sorrow, they are the themes of all great Indian literature in all Indian languages. In fact, in the world, all great literature is built around a separation, a loss, a lost love, a lost friend, a lost memory, a lost time. How there is in that last summer, when it was easier to love than to hate. You see, that is the loss of that last summer, when it was possible to love, and this summer when it is not, when we only hate, we are not able to love. This is Boris Pasternak, writing in as a introductory lines for his novel about Lolita. Now so therefore, these experiences in life, experiences of life, when they are enacted, when they are represented in literature, it becomes a literary experience. What is the difference between literary experience and life? The difference is abhinay, enactment. In life, it happens to somebody, you see it. But when it is represented in a play, then somebody enacts it, plays it. And when somebody writes a story, then through the words, you see the enactment. You have to imagine in your mind's eye, you have to see those things. So now this 8 rasa in Bharat Muni, only 8. But what about, many people say Abhinav Gupta added the 9th rasa, क्योंकि आजकल नव रस कहते हैं ना, हम 9 रस हैं, the Shanta rasa. Now Shant Ras is not the 9th ras. Abhinav Gupta, I think for me, the most tremendous part of Abhinav Gupta's commentary on Rasa Sutra is where he talks about the Shanta Rasa. Bharat mentions Shanta Ras, but he doesn't count it among the rasas. He only counts 8, not Shanta. There is a Sthai Bhava, but in the Rasa Sutra, the Vibhava, Anubhava, Sattvika, there is no Sthai Bhava. In the Rasa Sutra, there is no Sthai Bhava. Because how does a rasa arise? It arises from the combination of Vibhava, Anubhava, and Sattvika Bhava. Only this. Then what about Sthai Bhava? Because it is this Sthai Bhava, Shok. It is Shok which becomes the Karuna Rasa. Then what about Sthai Bhava? The Sthai Bhava is not counted there because Sthai Bhava is the Abhidaya, is the object of enactment. What is the object of performance? What is object? What is performed? But the grief of Aina Potapov is not the cause of itself. So grief in itself is not counted as an element in grief. Grief is to be portrayed. It is to be enacted. Sthai Bhav. Therefore, Sthai Bhav is not counted not counted in the Rasa Sutra, but it is very much there. There are 8 Sthai Bhava, 8 Rasa, and 8 Sattvika Bhava, and 33 Sanchari Bhavas in the whole structure of Ras theory. There are these. Now, Shant Ras. You see, imagine when a child is born, very small child, about a day old, Are you going, beta? Huh? Why? Well, I'm sorry, sir. My daughter and granddaughter had just dropped in and they are going back, so I said bye-bye to them. I was talking about Shantarasa. You see, when a child is born, he may be 1 day old or 2 day old. When the mother puts him on his back on the cot, the infant smiles. Have you seen an infant smile? It's a very divine smile. Why does he smile? Why? Why does an infant smile? From where that smile comes? You see, it is a priori. It is given. It is in him. It is the basic feeling in him, in the child, God given, and he smiles. He is like a placid lake of water. Imagine a lake, very deep lake, because only the deep lake has a peaceful surface. The Uthli, one lake which is not very deep, it will have so many waves on its surface, you see, but it will not be peaceful. So imagine a deep lake, placid water. And this child, this infant, is like the surface of a deep lake. He comes with that placidity, that equanimity, that peace, that shanta bhav mein hota hai wo. And that is the basic. And then when he grows up, then what happens? The avega, all these, anger, joy, sorrow, surprise, fear, hateful. These are different avega. They are called avega. That is something, a powerful thing which comes. As he grows up in life, he experiences these things, and these are like waves in a placid lake. वो जो शांत झील है, जब स्टॉर्म आता है, एक स्टॉर्म आता है तो उसमें लहरें उठती हैं. ये जितने 8 रस हैं, ये लहरें हैं जो उस व्यक्ति के जीवन में, उस बच्चे के जीवन में, जैसे बच्चा बड़ा होता जाएगा, पहले वो अपनी माँ को ही पहचानता है और आंखों से फॉलो करता है, और फिर जब उसे समझ आ जाती है कि दिस पर्सन इज ऑलवेज अराउंड मी, दिस पर्सन हैग्स मी, दिस पर्सन makes me, pats me, and shows our affection in various ways, he identifies himself with that person. And if after 4 days or 5 days, he doesn't see that person, mind you, a child often has the smell of his mother in him. He can smell his mother. If he can't see her, but she is in the smellable area around, if she is around and he can smell her, he will remain happy. But when he ceases to smell her, then you see, then he cries. So when he misses his mother, that is his first experience of sorrow. When he doesn't see her for some time and doesn't smell her, and that is the first wave. In a Buddhist text, Lankavatara Sutra, all these are called waves of the air. हवा के झोंके, जो हवा के झोंके आते हैं लाइफ में, वो हवा के झोंके अलग अलग प्रकार के हैं और वो हमें अलग अलग एक्सपीरियंस देते हैं. And we have these experiences, which we call 8 rasas. But each one of them ultimately, it comes as a disturbance. Disturbance. आपने जाना कई बार मदर्स अपने कोई बच्चा बहुत बहुत खुशी जताता है, बहुत खुश होके कूदता है, नाचता है, तो माँ कहती है शांत हो जा, नहीं तो जितना हंस रहा है उतना ही रोएगा, शांत हो जा. क्या कहती है? शांत हो जा. जब कोई बच्चा बहुत खुश है तो माँ कहती है शांत हो जा. और जब वो कोई व्यक्ति रोने लगता है, बच्चा रोने लगता है बहुत बहुत तेजी से, तब भी माँ क्या कहती है? शांत हो जा. So sorrow and happiness, which are waves, have to end in Shanta Rasa, in placidity. So Shanta Ras is the alamban, is the adhar of all the rasas. The wave comes in that placid lake and the man is disturbed. Even sukh is a great disturbance. In fact, according to the Buddhists, sukh hota hi nahi hai. There is dukh and there is absence of dukh. Absence of dukh. And no, a person is more disturbed when he is happy, because he has a fear, he has an apprehension that this happiness will not last for long. So that apprehension makes him unhappy, makes him sad or suffering. So these are waves and they all have to end in Shantaras. So Shantaras is not a separate rasa. It is the mother, it is the alamban, the adhar. In that the wave comes and then wave has to subside. It has to subside and it has to subside in Shant. I've given you the example when a child is very joyful and dancing, the mother says, Shant ho ja. And the child is crying, the mother says, Shant ho ja. So everything has to end in peace, Shanta. Now, in the Buddhist thinking, it is called quaffs of air, hawa ke jhonke. In parallel example, they are waves in water, but they are disturbances in our human life, different kinds of disturbances. And ultimately, they all have to pass. They all have to pass. और जब एकदम peaceful होना है. Now the question is, what is it that makes you peaceful? Shanta. A kind of, there are people जैसे जिसको गीता में कहा है स्थित प्रज्ञा. You know, शांत व्यक्ति कौन होते हैं? कौन सी चीज है जो व्यक्ति को शांत करती है? Who is not amenable to disturbance even when these experiences happen. The Sattvic Purusha, faced by deepest grief, will simply fall silent. And that's all. Nothing else. So what is it that gives, in other words, what is this, the standard question in literary theory, what is the sthai bhava? What is the sthai bhava of Shanta Rasa? What is it that converts? What is it that converts into a Shanta, peaceful condition? According to some people, it is nirveda, indifference. Upeksha ka bhav. योग सूत्रों में मैत्री, करुणा, मुदित और उपेक्षा. That is indifference to what is not good, what is not nice. Be indifferent. But indifference is a negative feeling. So it cannot be. Abhinav Gupta argues that Nirveda is not the Sthai Bhava of Shantaras. The Sthai Bhava of Shantaras is Jnana, Tattva Jnana. Knowledge of what is Tattva. Tattva Mimamsa is ontology and Jnana Mimamsa is epistemology. So Tattva Mimamsa में जो तत्व, ज्ञान का जो तत्व है, जिसको तत्व ज्ञान हो गया, जिसको ये समझ आ गया कि इंद्रियां दुख का कारण है और इंद्रियों को उसने विषयों से हटाना सीख लिया, इंद्रियों को अपने वश में कर लिया, उसको तत्व ज्ञान हो गया, वो व्यक्ति जो है वो शांत रस में रहता है.
Sir, kindly excuse me. Sir, can you conclude in 5 minutes?
I can conclude right away.
No, sir, 5 minutes, please.
Yeah.
Please. We wanted to listen to you, sir.
No, no,
in
I
5
know
minutes,
it's too
sir.
much. I think.
No, no, sir. Other things are there.
How
It's
much
a
time has
concluding day.
passed?
So kindly, sir, in 5 minutes, you go
Yes.
easy, sir. Yes, sir. We want to listen to you, sir.
No,
Thank
no,
you.
no. I think I am, in fact, on the last point I had made about Shantaras not being the ninth ras,
Okay, it's
but
a
being
great,
the
great
Alabban.
revelation. We're enjoying that.
So
Enjoying
I
every
think
bit of it.
I will say thank you very much
No, no, sir.
for
Kindly do
calling
it.
me.
Kindly go on, sir.
And, thank you very much, and thank everybody for patiently listening. Although today I was a little disintegrated, ekagra chit nahi tha. Phir bhi, as I said, because of the whole day long at my age, by this time I am a little disturbed. There are waves in me.
Sir,
Thank you very
kindly
much.
conclude this point,
Namaskar.
sir. This
Sir,
this
you were-
point. Okay, sir.
The presentation was well integrated. We felt very thrilled.
Thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much. Thank
It
you.
was such a great presentation, and so many things from so many sides, so much of literature from English literature, and so much. And even he went to Lankavatara Sutra to tell of the waves and the sea, that placidity and Santarasa. And the last point he made is so enlightening. That ontology, the Tattva Jnana is that, not Nirbeda, not neither Sama nor Nirbeda, but Tattva Jnana. So that ontological aspect of Saiva Sastra that are to be known, the 36 principles. It was so great a revelation, such an enlightening lecture we had from Professor Kapil
Thank you
Kapoor.
very much.
So we are so much beholden to you. We have no words for this.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Professor
Now,
Rajneesh
please
Mishra is here.
continue with your
Professor
other
Rajneesh Mishra is
program.
here. If he can have a word on Professor Kapil Kapoor's presentation.
Padma ji, namaskar. Padma Subramaniam ji, namaskar.
Acha, okay.
After a long time, I am seeing you. I am very happy to see you.
My pranams to you.
You remember I was in
Pranams,
JNU. I was in JNU and we invited you and you gave me video cassettes of Natya Shastra that you
Right.
teach. Thank you very much. Very nice to see you. You're looking good. You're looking good. Very nice. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
So thank you. So now we come to Dr. Padma Subramaniam, who is very kindly with us from Chennai. And he's a Natya Guru and he's into Natya Shastra. And we are talking of Abhinav Gupta and his two great works on aesthetics. And also points of aesthetics in all his works, because he's deep into that Saivite realization. He's also a Sakta and a seat of great adar. So now we request Padma Subramaniam, who is a great Natya Guru and a dancer and a teacher to many dancers, many generations of dancers. So Dr. Padma Subramaniam will be kindly speaking to us on Abhinav Gupta and his aesthetics. Dr. Padma Subramaniam,
Sir,
please.
Jyoti ji will introduce Padma ji about
Jyoti
her
ji will
contribution.
introduce, yes.
Namaskar Padma ji, welcome to our program today. Dr. Padma Subramaniam ji is a great dancer and a multifaceted scholar. She is the daughter of director K. Subramaniam ji, who was an internationally reputed film pioneer, freedom fighter, and a parental personality in the cultural field. Dr. Padma Subramaniam ji has received more than 135 awards, national and international, which include Padma Shri, Padma Bhushan, Sangeet Natak Akademi Award from the President of India. Dr. Padma is the President of Nrityodhaya Chennai, Managing Trustee of Director K. Subramaniam Memorial Trust and a Trustee of the Indira Gandhi National Center for the Arts, New Delhi. She is presently the Program Director, BFA and MFA Distance Education courses in Bharatanatyam and PhD at Shastra University, Tanjore. She has to her credit several books and research papers in both English and Tamil. Welcome, Padma Subramaniam ji.
Namaskar. Am I audible?
Yes,
You
ma'am.
can all hear me?
Yes, ma'am, we can hear.
Sadgurubhyo Namaha. My pranams to all the great scholars here. And my special thanks to Shri Sunil Raina for his having invited me to be part of this great event. I feel blessed, particularly because I'm I've been asked to speak on the very Jayanti day of the great Acharya. I think it is my good fortune. Before I begin my lecture, Mahati will be dancing to a verse composed in praise of Sri Abhinav Gupta Padacharya by Madhuraja, who went to Kashmir from Madurai, that is Tamil Nadu, at his age of 74 and studied under the great Acharya for 4 years. The stanza that we have chosen means, I bow to that supreme Guru, Abhinav Gupta, who delineated the 9 rasas in his Abhinava Bharati, which is a commentary on the 36 chapters of Bharata's Natya Veda.
Yeah, I have made you the co-host.
सा गपदनि रपगरि सनि सारी गा सा गपदनि रपगरि सनि सारी गा गरि सनि पदनि सागरि सपदनि दनि दपगनि दपा पगरि सनि दनि रि सनि गरि सपगरि सपगनि दप सनि दप सनि गरि सपदनि त्रिंशदानीकम् इदम् षट्त्रिंशदानीकम् इदम् भरतोक्त नाट्यवेदम् षट्त्रिंशदानीकम् इदम् भरतोक्त नाट्यवेदम् रसैरूपचितं नवभिर्विवृण्वन् यो भारती अभिनवा रचयां चकार रसैरूपचितं नवभिर्विवृण्वन् यो भारती अभिनवा रचयां चकार तस्मै नमो अभिनवगुप्त गुरुतमाय तस्मै नमो अभिनवगुप्त गुरुतमाय अभिनवगुप्त गुरुतमाय अभिनवगुप्त गुरुतमाय गुरुतमाय गुरुतमाय
Were you able to see the dance?
Yes, ma'am. Clearly, ma'am.
No, no.
we had to select the picture from the various this thing, because we had not selected the main this thing, ma'am. But when we went on to the this thing, and then we were able to see it. But I am very sure that most of them would have not seen it, because your this thing was not selecting. The audio was not selecting. I was able to see it because I went and, you know,
Audio was, we were able to hear the audio, but I think audio got selected and not this.
No, but we saw it. But we saw it. We could listen to the song and we saw it very much. It was there.
It was there. We had to select it.
Ma'am, it was quite nicely seen. We could see it on screen. You had to select the pin. You know, you had to put that pin on when you go to that 3 dots come on your screen. You put that pin there, so the whole picture will come to you. The music as well as the dance was clearly visible on the screen.
Okay, next time when she's dancing, you can pin her. Do you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, we are hearing.
Well, I think I'm very fortunate to be part of this whole event. Probably I was one of those 12,000 people who followed Acharya to the cave. And maybe it is that blessing which is making me part of this very holy event. I bow to Acharya. I especially pray for Kashmir to get back to normalcy. We want to see Kashmir like how it was during Abhinav Gupta's time. Well, there is going to be a meeting. I think it is Abhinav Gupta Pada's that in another 3 days there's going to be a meeting which our Honorable Prime Minister has convened. Let's hope Acharya's blessings will be there and we'll get some very good news after that meeting. Well, I was very fortunate to be the convener of the national seminar on Abhinav Gupta that was done in Chennai by IGNCA in collaboration with our Bharata Elango Foundation for Asian Culture and Kalakshetra. And well, I want to be as short as possible. Bharata's Natya Shastra seems to have caught the eye of the great Acharya for his diving deep into it because of its intellectual, emotional, and spiritual spheres embedded in it. He recognized its importance in society for its value in aesthetics and ethics. The discovery of Abhinav Bharati, the only available commentary today on Natya Shastra, was a turning point in understanding the Natya Veda. For want of time, I will not deal with his unparalleled Rasa Prakaranam. We just heard a great scholar speaking on it. So my concentration is going to be on the Nrutya as such, particularly the Karanas. By taking up the hazardous task of commenting on both Anandavardhana's and Bharata's works, I think Abhinav Gupta Padacharya had fulfilled explaining the twin arts of poetry and theatre. This holistic approach of Kavi Sikshartham and Kavi Nata Sikshartham was his colossal achievement without losing his eye on the philosophy. His unity of thought can be connectively perceived in the word Matrika or mothers. In Tattva Loka, he is said to discuss the concept of Matrika or mothers. They are explained as the embodiment of Sanskrit letters, which symbolically represent the power of divine generation. As letters, the matrikas constitute mantras, and the mantras are forces that unlock the mystery of existence. I'm quoting this from Motilal Pandit. Subhash Kak had written, quote, "Our phenomenal knowledge can only be in terms of associations of the outer world, but associations in themselves need something to bind them together. The binding is the matrika, the womb of elementary sounds. It is this that makes it possible to understand words or symbols when they are strung together. Since they lack the matrika, computers cannot understand language." Unquote. It is interesting to realize that the term matrika is used in Natya Shastra and explained by Abhinav Gupta as a dance sequence made up of 2 karanas. Karana is a unit of dance, hence you need at least 2 of them strung together to give the impression of dance and possibly communicate. Nritta matrikas are the mothers of Nritta, the flowing force manifesting the charming divinity of dance. One needs the grace of Shakti for a hassle-free fluidity of movements as found in the concept of Apsara. Apsara gives us the concept of moving in water with glides and unexpected bends. According to Natya Shastra, Apsaras were created by Brahma to fulfill the requirement of Kaishiki Vritti, the graceful romance. Kashmir Shaivism propagates bhakti, bhukti, and mukti. The dharmic enjoyment of the sense organs is not negated, but divinity was experienced in every aspect of life, and arts and aesthetics were part of this enjoyment. Hence, Abhinav Gupta thought it fit to deal with arts of poetry and drama. He was himself a supreme poet and a musician as well, who could experience the presence of Bhairava in all these arts. The Abhinav Bharati is a crest jewel for Bharata's Natya Shastra, shining like a beacon light to comprehend Bharata's formulas. The sutra form of Natya Shastra is extremely difficult to understand from a practical point of view. Abhinav Gupta himself explains this methodology of commentary. This is something very special to him. He says it is based on the principle of examining all that is to be digested, eliminating the irrelevant, elucidating with clarity, solving problems of contradiction, abiding by the conventions of the original work, deciphering riddle-like double meanings, spotting out the comparisons, justifying any possible repetitions, and all that with the quality of brevity. This is from Abhinav Bharati, first chapter, verses 5 and 6. Abhinav Gupta was a forerunner of all modern thoughts. He never hesitates to point out mistakes of his contemporary artists. His commentary is erudite and authoritative. No wonder he had influenced the entire Bharat as perceived in the relevant sculptures and literature. In fact, many may not know that manuscripts of Abhinav Gupta was discovered in Kerala also. Where is Kashmir and where is Kerala? I don't intend dealing with the very widely known rasa theory. My concentration, as said, is going to be only on Karanas. Karanas and Angaharas are delineated in the 4th chapter of Natyashastra. Bharata defined Karana as Hastapada Samayoga, Nritasya Karanam Bhavet. That is, movements of hands and feet in dance is called Karana. The Karanas were common dance codes of our subcontinent and even more. They were in practice in North India till 12th century and in South India till 14th century. Socio-religious and political upheavals were responsible for the fading away of these Shastras. The temples were focal centers of these arts. From early 1950s, the Chidambaram Karana sculptures were an inspiration for Bharatanatyam gurus and teachers. But including scholars, the Karana meant a pose. When I started my study in 1962, it was Abhinava Bharati which gave me the clarity of understanding the Karana. Abhinava Gupta says, Kriya Karanam. That is, Karana is an action. Then how can you call it a pose? This is logic. He describes it as Gatrana Vilasa Kshepasya. It is the graceful throw of the limbs. He explains it as an intrusion of the body of the dancer into space. It is moving from one point to another destination. I was awakened by Abhinav Gupta. My first research article declaring Karana as a movement appeared in Assam Research Journal in 1963. Bharata and Abhinav Gupta were my mentors. With Dr. T.N. Ramachandran, the retired Joint Director General of Archaeological Survey of India, as my guide to study the relevant sculptures. The relevant sculptures, I just want to mention them. They were also primary sources for my reconstruction of the Karanas. Tanjavur Brihadishwara temple of early 11th century. Kumbakonam Sharanpani Swami temple sculptures of 12th century. And Chidambaram Nataraja Mandir of 13th century. They all have Karana sculptures carved to delineate the 4th chapter of Natyashastra. They are just not architectural embellishments. They are like visual libraries of Karanas. Bharata defines Karana, as I said, Hastapada Samayoga, Nritasya Karanam Bhavet. That is a combination of hands and feet in Karana. In dance is Karana, Nritasya Karana. It's just not walking to a bus stand. It is in dance, it is Karana. This vague definition, which we find in Natyashastra, gets illuminated with Abhinav Gupta's commentary. Acharya says that by hasta, all the limbs of the upper part of the body is meant. Pada implies all the limbs of the lower half of our physique. Hence, Karana involves the entire physical being and more. It's just not physical. It's much more. We'll come to it later. Bharata has described 108 Karanas and their 32 specific combinations called Angahara. In his 4th chapter. But the elements that make the whole are described in later chapters. It took very long time for me to decipher the intricacies of the movements. The fact is that the Karanas had been out of vogue for about 5 centuries. Abhinav Gupta's commentary naturally follows the chapter alignment seen in Natyashastra. Still, his vivid explanations were of immense help and a primary source in reconstructing the Karanas from a practical point of view. I have been able to formulate a pedagogy for learning the Marga technique. By Marga, I mean the path shown by Bharata. This was a common grammar for performing arts from Kashmir to Kanyakumari and from Dwaraka to Kamaru. It actually extended into the entire Southeast Asia, as evidenced in their performing and plastic arts. thanks to Abhinav Bharati that I have been able to revive this marga, which had coexisted with the regional deshis till a few centuries ago. It was like Samskrita, the lingua franca, coexisting with all the rich Prakrits. Well, I told you it is difficult to understand the Karana without understanding the elements that make the Karana. A Karana is made up of Sthana, a Chari, and a Nrittahasta. Sthana is a position for the body. Chari is a movement for the entire legs. And Nrittahasta involves hand movements, which are just not Abhinaya Hastas that we have today, but movements from the shoulder down to the tips of the fingers. So these are all elementary factors. They have to be mastered before Karanas can be learned. I would like Mahati to, Mahati, I want you to see some samples of these basic elements. Just take the sthanas. Sthana is stance. What you call in English stance comes from the Sanskrit word sthana. So, can you see her whole physique?
Yes, ma'am, we can see.
Okay. Maybe you can pin. The various the sthanas depend on the direction in which the toes are turned, the measurement of space between the feet, and the third element is the loss of height. How much you should take. So based on all this, you have 6 sthanas: Vaishnavam, Samapadam cha, Vaishakam, Mandalam tata, Pratyalidam, Tatalidam, Sthanan etani Chandranam. So these are 6 in number. And Abhinav Gupta says a Karana is made up of Sthiti and Gati. The part of Sthiti depends on the sthanas. Gati implies the charis. So now I'll ask Mahati to just demonstrate a few charis. Chari is just not thumping alone. That's what we have in Indian classical dance these days. It's just not the footwork, but work of the whole leg. And 2 classifications are given: the Bhumichari, where the feet are mostly on the ground, and the Akashchari, where the feet are off the ground in the form of leaps, stretches, and jumps. Now, as I said, there are 16 Bhumicharis and 16 Akashcharis. Mahati will just perform a couple of Bhumicharis. Mattali. There is a crossed leg movement. Ta 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 kitta ta dinna dinna tam. Ta ta kitta ta dinna dinna tam. Ta ta kitta ta dinna dinna. This is Mattali. One more Bhumichari. Maybe come closer. You hear me? Utspandita, a very graceful movement. Can you see her feet?
Yes, madam. We can see the feet. Yeah.
Perfect.
It's a twist. The entire right from the waist down the foot, you see the twist. It's an internal balana of the thigh, of the shank. So you see the entire leg is involved. And to give you an example of a couple of Akash the first one, Atikrantachari, where the spacing is larger. Ka, tatakadinatam, tatakadinatam, tatakadina. You see the stretch in front and at the back. And then one more Akashchari, Apakranta. You see the twist of the entire leg, and then again twist and the leg being brought down. That's the dina, boom. That's the dina, boom. That's the dina, boom. That's the dina, boom. Okay. So you have a sample of the charts. Now, the third element is movement of the entire arm. 13 Vrittahastas are there. We have some examples. Aviddhavatra. You see the entire, right from the shoulder, the elbow, the palm, and even the fingers are to be moved like a wave. This is called Aviddhavatra. You have Rechita, it's a fast run of the hand in front of the chest and it spreads out. Rechita with Dhruta Brahmana ending as Rechita. Okay, I've been asked to wear this. So is it better now?
Yeah, perfect, madam.
Better
Perfect.
now?
Yes,
Okay.
yes, yes.
Okay. So with these basic elements, now let me try to explain how Abhinava Bharati has been like a torchlight to illumine us on Natyashastra. The first Karana is called Tala Pushpaputam. And Bharata's definition, of course, it's in the form of sutra. A couplet is there. Vame Pushpaputa, Parshve Pado Agratala Sancharaha, Tatha Sannatam Parshvam, Tala Pushpaputam Bhavet. Here, the technical terms are Pushpaputa for the hands, Agratala Sanchara for the feet, and Sannata Parshva. If one is not aware of these basic elements, the sutra cannot be understood at all. After search, if these terms are recognized, the movement will be like what Mahati will do now, just following Bharata. Tala Pushpaputam is Pushpaputahasa, like a leaf cup. We call it Donne in Tamil. And it's one of the Samyuta Abhinaya Hastas. Agratala Sanchara is a chari where one foot is on toes. And Sannatam Parshvam will mean Parsha is one of the Angas, major limbs, and Nata is to be bent. So you have the three elements here, but still the movement is not clear. Even after assimilating these, the movement may be reconstructed like Janita Chari. tat, 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 tat. That's all. But Abhinav Gupta explains it as Adhyartikachari, followed by Agradhala Sanchara, with hands undergoing Vyavatta Parivartita, ending as Pushpaputa on left to the side well bent. Now you see the movement reconstructed with Abhinav Bharati's guidance. Ta, tat, tat, dhi, tat, dhi, tat, 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 tam, tat, tat, dhi, tat, dhi, tat, tat. Here, it is very important to, I have to mention this. The Rechakas are very important. Rechakas are like, if there are musicians in the audience, you will understand the Gamaka, the meaning, the ornaments in musical phrases, which gives you the rupa of the raga. And the Rechakas are the counterpart of Gamakas in the body. And 4 Rechakas are described, Rechaka of the neck. And these Rechakas be included. Both Bharata and Abhinav Gupta have shown the importance of Rechakas. Without the Rechakas, the Karana will look very robotic. That is why I want to insist here that please do not copy my movements from my video. You have to learn it from the Guru. Otherwise, it becomes very mechanical. Where exactly what Rechaka has to be used is something only the teacher can directly tell. It is like notation. You can't learn a raga from notation. Notation helps you to remember. So the video presentation is more a documentation, and Karanas have to be learned Gurumukha. Now,
Sorry, ma'am. Sorry, ma'am. Ma'am, the audio is getting blocked, ma'am. I think the microphone gets blocked.
hello.
Yeah, now it's okay, ma'am.
You want me to repeat what I said?
Yeah, ma'am. Yeah, ma'am. Yeah, ma'am.
No, I was saying that
No, ma'am,
the
but the mic is
Rechakas
not working perfectly.
working. Is it working now?
Yeah, it's working very fine now.
Yeah. So I was explaining that if the Rechakas are not included, Rechakas are the ornamentation in dance, like Gamakas are the ornamentation in music. We talk about Dashavidha Gamakas. There are 10 different types of ornaments for music. In the same way, there are at least 4 Rechakas are mentioned for the neck, for the waist, pada, and hands. These Rechakas add beauty to the movement, and only if the Rechakas are there, the elements of Karanas can be chained, they can be linked. Otherwise, it will all be like cut frames, different photographs brought together. So, I mean, if you learn it from the video, this is the danger. You will not learn it properly, and it will give a wrong impression of the Karanas. I appeal to the young dancers. I'm happy you love the Karanas. I'm very grateful to your admiration, but please learn it directly from the Guru and do not copy from the video. You will be dancing like robot. It will be mechanical. You won't have the chaining properly with the right. Now I'll ask her to do the same Karana without the Rechaka. You just see. Rechaka ellama pannanum. It is difficult for her now, but she has to do without Rechaka. Tam, tattakatinna tattim tatta. Tam, tattakatinna tattim tatta. So it will be like this. Now do it with the Rechaka. Ta, tattakatinna tattim Tatta. There is a Kati Rechaka. It's not mentioned. It is not there, but you have to understand these nuances. Karana is not simple. It is difficult, but nothing is simple. You have to have what is called sadhana. Without sadhana, nothing is achieved. Siddhi cannot be there without sadhana and proper learning. So this is where you get nuances from Abhinav Bharati's help. And I want to show you a few more how mere Natya Shastra alone cannot help you. For example, there is a Karana called Vikshiptam. In the, I will go fast because I have lost a lot of time. Vikshiptam is described in Natya Shastra as throw of limbs on all sides, both hands and feet. What do you mean? What do you do with this? Abhinav Gupta says it is made up of 2 charis and they have to be done very fast. It is Vidyutbranta chari followed by Dandapata chari. Both the charis together make one Karana called Vikshiptam. Drigidda Talankata, Drigidda Talankata, Drigidda Talankata, Drigidda Talankata. These 2 together make one Karana. So just standing like this, like what you see in a sculpture, cannot be called Karana. And very often in Natya Shastra, you get a phrase, Prayoga Vashagau Hasto. That is, the hands are moved in accordance with the feet. How do you understand this? What imagination can you have? Now, for a Karana called Avartam, Abhinav Gupta says, it has to be Chashagati Chari with Udveshtita, Apaveshtita, followed by Dola. All these are mentioned by Abhinav Gupta. Perform that. Based on Abhinav Gupta only. Ta, tatakadinna ta, tatakata, ta, tatakadinna tam, tatakata. It's a beautiful gliding movement. And Abhinav Gupta also suggests the emotive nature of Karanas. This Karana Avartam is useful for portraying Sagarika approaching Udayana for Shringara Rasa. So I wrote long ago that Nritta is not Bhava Vihinam. Nritta is not Rasa Vihinam, because I follow Abhinav Gupta. It is possible to evoke rasa through the Karanas. Karana is called Nritta Karana. But Nritta in Natya Shastric tradition is not Bhava Vihina. It is something which is confused by later authorities, saying Nritta is Bhava Vihina. Nritya has Bhava but no Rasa, and only Natya has Bhava and Rasa. All that is absolute. Sorry, I cannot agree with all this. Because in Tamil, if there is a debate, they say, if someone says something, the opponent will say, oh, is it big Vedavak? Because Vedavak is ultimate for us. And for us, the Natya Vedavak is ultimate for performing arts. And according to Natya Veda and also Abhinav Gupta's Abhinav Bharati, Nritta is not Bhava Vihinam. Nritta is not Rasa Vihinam. And he has also argued there is no Veda, there is no difference between Natya and Nritta. He has explained it so very clearly. Everything is danced in a drama. unless one understands the traditional Indian classical drama, this cannot be assimilated. Well, one important Karana I have to show you here, Bhujangatrasita. The whole world now knows on the Tandava Nataraja figure. In every airport you have Nataraja there, and in every dance Ranga Pravesham, it's a fashion now to keep one Nataraja idol on the left corner in front, and people walk around with the chappal on. I have raised my voice against this many times because the coming VIP doesn't realize the religiosity of it. If you don't respect the icon, don't have the icon. Why do you have the icon? And to have an icon and go there with chappal and go around is something I can't see. I can't see this. So Bhujangatrasita is a Karana, 24th Karana in Natya Shastra, and you will be surprised to know that the Agama Shastras have taken this particular Karana to portray Nataraja in Antandava form. And it is not a posture, again, because it's a Karana. Kunchitam Padam Ukshipya. Again, I want to say something about Kunchita Padam. Kunchita Pada is one of the Pada Vedas. It is an arched sole. It is used in lifting the leg, but in present day classical Indian dance, Kunchita is not seen often. So Kunchita Padam is lifted, and then the whole leg is twisted in and out and then landed. This is what Bharata says. And with the hands, it will go like ta, ta, tak. This is where you see Karana is frozen in the sculpture. And then it has to be completed like tam, ta, ta. And it can be done on both sides. Tam, ta, tak, dhin, tam, ta, ta. So whenever you see Nataraja in any airport, think of this Karana. Abhinav Gupta says that the Dola Hasta has to be used, and also he says Katakamukha Hasta has to be used. One is Dola, other one is Katakamukha. Now, in the icons, we see Pataka. It's more for showing Abhaya. It's Abhaya Hasta. And there is one more Karana I want to show you. It's called Kunchitam, where the knee is very close to the ground. And it is, Abhinav Gupta says, this is used for worshipping God. This is meant for prayer. And very interestingly, in Thailand, this particular movement is called Tep Pranam. That is Deva Pranam. Mahati, do the Kunchitam. Tam, tat, tak, dhin, tam, tat, ta. And if the hands are Anjali Hasta, it is Thailand Tep Pranam. So I told you how Abhinav Gupta has clearly explained the concept of Vakyartha Abhinaya. Padartha Abhinaya is different, where every word, there's a word-to-word meaning expressed through Abhinaya Hastas. Vakyartha Abhinaya would mean moving the whole body in accordance with the mood of a whole verse. I told you about Sagarika. Even for the very first Karana Talapushpaputam, Abhinav Gupta has given the example of Sri Harsha's Nandi Shloka. He says that one shloka, for the entire shloka, that one karana is enough to portray that entire Bhakti Bhava and Shringara Bhava. So you have the concept of Vakyartha Abhinayam, thanks to Abhinav Bharati. And in Abhinav Bharati, you find Karana is explained as a combination of Sthiti and Gati. I want to show you one example to show how Sthiti, that is Sthana, and Gati, Chari, are combined. There is one, almost all Karanas are like that. Vaishakha Rechitam. Here, the Sthana is Vaishakha Sthana, and the Rechita Hasta is there. And Abhinava says this has to be used for showing riding vehicles. And the movement has to be done according to the vehicle that is portrayed. So suppose it is Garuda, Vishnu is riding, or Kartikeya, who is riding the peacock, the movement will go like ta, 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 din, ta, 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 din, ta. And if it is Indra riding the Airavata, it will be in slower pace, ta, 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 din, ta, 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 ta. That matanga sway will be there. So again, this is also Rechaka. The sway for the elephant, or the glide for a bird, or the hopping step for a horse, all come under the concept of Sthiti and Gati. I told you already about two Karanas being combined for Matrika. The Purvaranga, the preliminaries of a play, which is highly ritualistic, is called Shuddha Purvaranga. It is almost Havan. Havan is there, Yajna is there. And Shiva says to Bharata, you can have a Chitra Purvaranga instead of Shuddha Purvaranga by adding the Karanas, Angaharas, and the Pindis. Pindi involves more than one dancer, and the Purvaranga had 4 dancers performing the Pindi. And the Pindis were mostly tied through Nritta Matrikas. We are able to see the importance of Nritta Matrika here. It is almost like mantra. Only because of that, it is included in the Purvaranga. It is equal to mantra. It is equal to ahudi that you give. So this is where you find the religiosity of Nritta. Of course, I must also add that whether it is Nritta or Natya or whatever it is, Sattva is very important. Unless the mental involvement is there, it will all be very mechanical. Another important thing about Abhinav Gupta's commentary is the significant explanation for the term Tandavam. The 4th chapter of Natya Shastra is called Tandava Lakshana. And the term Tandavam came to mean masculine, forceful dance in later days, much later. In Natya Shastra, Tandava and Nritta are synonyms. And naturally, Abhinava also takes Tandava to be synonym of Nritta. But he gives a very beautiful explanation, because Bharata says Nritta came to be called Tandavam because Shiva asked Tandu to teach Bharata the Angaharas and Karanas. And who was this Tandu? Obviously, the first guru of Bharata Muni. Because it was Tandu who taught dance, dance came to be called Tandava. This is what Bharata says. And some scholars identify Tandu as Nandikeshwara. Abhinava doesn't agree with that. And I can show many, I have identified many sculptures right from Pallava days, 7th century, 8th century days, showing Tandu playing the drum. And Abhinav Gupta says, he gives a onomatopic derivation of the term Tandu. He says, because the drums give sounds like Than, Barn, you get the term Tandu. He gives a very different explanation for Tandu. And that is seen even before Abhinav Gupta's time. In 8th century Kailasnatha temple at Kanchipuram, you have huge drums, which you see somebody, a Muni is playing, while you see next to him, Shiva is dancing with his leg up. So this is a very interesting observation that we can get from Abhinav Bharati. Abhinav Bharati gives so much importance for sadhana, that is practice. He says, while commenting on the Angahara called Apavitam, he says, only those who are experts in the field can comprehend the graceful coordination of movement, rhythm, and linking the actions by chaining the Karanas. So it cannot be just learned orally, it cannot be just written down and by hearted. It has to be felt in the body. He also says that the term Angahara is based on, because it is Shiva Priti, it is like a garland for Shiva. And Shiva's name is incorporated in the term Angahara. Regarding creativity, Abhinav Gupta is very open-minded. He says that the art is anadi, it is beginningless. And he reminds us, he takes it from Natya Shastra. He says, even Shiva said that he is reminded of his own Karanas and Nagaharas involved in his Sandhya Tandava. It is he who renewed it, ornamented it, and repainted it. And it was like the Vedas, which were discovered and not invented. He says, when the need arises for a flow in a novel way, it must be admitted without interfering with an element of creativity. He calls it Kritaka, man-made. Nritta is created then and there. This is what he says. With new actions and rhythms. Such actions also get tied up with the existing avalon of previous creations and hence attains Nitya. Abhinav Gupta says that if this concept is well grasped, there will be no contradiction between Kritaka and Nitya. It's interesting to see that Abhinav Gupta is speaking about a form called Dombika, which seems to be erotic entertainment for the royalty with commercial interest. He also says that the Dombika does not change the original identity. She's not dancing as Sita or Shakuntala. She's dancing as herself. He calls it Laukika, or pleasure of senses. He talks about Drishta Phala and Adrishta Phala of the art. That is fruit of visual impact, and fruit that is beyond vision. Adrishtaphala. Drishtaphala gives visual treat. Abhinav Gupta criticizes his contemporary artists and says that the Dombika is not even giving Drishtaphala. There is no Drishtaphala also, I believe. The Adrishta or unseen fruit of Nritta is in its inclusion in the Purvaranga, it is religious preliminaries of the play, wherein Nritta itself is an ahuti for the divine. While talking of Pushpanjali, which is performed, flowers are offered by the dancer, Abhinav Gupta categorically states that it should not be performed by looking at the spectators. It is an offering for one's own Atma. We see Kashmiri Advaita aligned as 30, in this very concept of Pushpanjali. Even the 36 chapters of Natya Shastra seems to tally with the 36 tattvas of Shaivism. And interestingly, even in Shaiva Siddhanta of Tamil Nadu, it is 36 tattva. And the basis of Shaiva Siddhanta of Tamil Nadu is Pati, Pashu, Pasham, this triad. Some scholar should take up this study of seeing the link between Kashmiri Shaivism and the Tamil tradition of Shaiva Siddhanta. In fact, the Shaiva Siddhanta goes back to pre-7th century in Tamil Nadu. And well, I want to give time for Mahati to dance. The Natya Shastra is also called Natya Veda. All the three main devatas of Hindu pantheon are connected with its origin. Brahma compiled it from the four Vedas. Shiva added the Nritta Karanas, and Vishnu gave the Vrittis. Nritta and Natya are like twins, inseparable in the classical Indian theatre. The religious efficacy of Nritta is replete in Natya Shastra and Abhinav Bharati. Both Kashmiri Shaivism and Shaivism of Tamil Nadu speak of Shiva as a cosmic dancer. Both recognize the efficacy of the art of Nritta. And there is a stanza in Abhinav Bharati itself where Abhinav Gupta says that even a little Tandava is enough to satisfy Shiva. And the performance of a little Lasya is something which satiates Amba. So I will ask Mahati to perform this stanza, which I had included in my Tilana. She'll just perform that last part.
यत्किञ्चिल्लास्यङ्गेतेन देवी तुष्यति नृत्यसः यत्किञ्चित् ताण्डवन्तेन सोमसानुचरः शिवः यत्किञ्चित् ताण्डवन्तेन सोमसानुचरः शिवः यत्किञ्चिल्लास्यङ्गेतेन देवी तुष्यति नृत्यसः यत्किञ्चित् ताण्डवन्तेन सोमसानुचरः शिवः
Well, there is a demand. I'm getting a message that the first shloka in praise of Abhinavagupta Padacharya was not heard and was not seen properly. So they are requesting a repeat performance of that. I'll ask Mahati to perform that shloka first, and she'll follow it with a couple of verses from all of you know. I don't have to tell you Bhairava Stuti. I've already explained that first shloka of Madhuraja, so I won't explain that again. But I would like to remind you of how not only Shiva is dancing, but the devotee is also dancing mentally. And it is very interesting to see. I want to quote from South Adi Shankara Bhagavad Padacharya in his Chatushashti Upachara Puja Stotram addressed to Amba. He says he is himself dancing, playing musical instruments and singing to please her. Swayam aham atichitrehi nritta vaditra geetehi bhagavati bhavadiyam manasam ranjayam. This is what Adi Shankara says. And nearly 1500 years later, Abhinava has the same idea. In the Bhairava Stuti, he says he is dancing. is singing because he has become Bhairava himself. So with that, she will conclude. I won't come in between the two items. Mahati, you will perform both the items again. To conclude my speech, I think the present generation of artists will gain by getting acquainted with Abhinav Bharati and Abhinav Gupta's philosophy. Nritta is like electricity. When handled with care, it gives light and power. If not, it shocks and destroys. It is a great art with divine power to give Shanti, and that is why it was validated by Bharata Muni and Abhinav Gupta Padacharya, who was a Jagat Guru. He was just not for Kashmir, he was for the whole world. Now you have these two items performed by Mahati. I have to move.
सा गपदनि रपगरि सनि सारी गा सा गपदनि रपगरि सनि सारी गा गरि सनि पदनि सागरि सपदनि दनि रपगनि रपा पगरि सनि दनि रि सनि गरि सपगरि सपगनि रपा सनि रपा सनि गरि सपदनि त्रिंशदानीकं इदम् षट्त्रिंशदानीकं इदं भरतोक्त नाट्यवेदं षट्त्रिंशदानीकं इदं भरतोक्त नाट्यवेदं रसैरूपचितं नवभिर्विवृण्वन् यो भारती अभिनवा रचयां चकार रसैरूपचितं नवभिर्विवृण्वन् यो भारती अभिनवा रचयां चकार तस्मै नमो अभिनवगुप्त गुरुतमाय तस्मै नमो अभिनवगुप्त गुरुतमाय अभिनवगुप्त गुरुतमाय अभिनवगुप्त गुरुतमाय 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 भैरवनाथ 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 तकिट जेम तजेम तकिट जेम 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 तकिट जेम तजेम तकिट तोडकताम तक तोडकताम तोडकते तत् तोडकताम तक तोडकताम तोडकते तत् तित्तकणं तकुंदरी किट तक तक तित्तकणं तकुंदरी किट तक तत् तित्तकणं तकुंदरी किट तक तक तित्तकणं तकुंदरी किट तत् तित्तकणं तक तित्तकणं तत्तकणं तक तकणं तकणं तत् तित्तकणं दित्तकणं तकणं तकुंदरी किट तक तत् तित्तकणं दित्तकणं तकणं तकुंदरी किट तक तत् तित्तकणं दित्तकणं तकणं तकुंदरी किट भैरवनाथ 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 त्वन्मयमेतत् अशेषमिदानी त्वन्मयमेतत् अशेषमिदानी भाति मम त्वत् अनुग्रहशक्त्या भाति मम त्वत् अनुग्रहशक्त्या त्वन्मयमेतत् अशेषमिदानी भाति मम त्वत् अनुग्रहशक्त्या त्वं च महेश सदैव ममात्मा त्वं च महेश सदैव ममात्मा स्वात्ममयं मम तेन समस्तं स्वात्ममयं मम तेन समस्तं त्वन्मयमेतत् अशेषमिदानी भाति मम त्वत् अनुग्रहशक्त्या नृत्यति दृढधणङ्कुचं तरिकिटतगता तद्धींता धण्ण धण्ण तता जण्ण जण्ण दृढधणङ्कुचं तरिकिटतगते तद्धींता धण्ण धण्ण तता जण्ण जण्ण तैतण धण तता धणदिंता जण जण जणते जणदिंते तत्तणदिंता दित्तणतां तैतरिकितणत जणत दिंत तत्तण तणत दित्तिमितिमितै तिंगिण्णतो कृतगरितो तिंगिण्णतो कृतगरितो गिण्णतो कृतगरितोंता नृत्यति गायति सरि ग म प म ग रे सा नि ध प सा नि ध प सा नि ध प सरि ग म प सरि ग म प सरि ग म प नृत्यति गायति हृष्यति गाढम् नृत्यति गायति हृष्यति गाढम् संविदीयं मम भैरवनाथ संविदीयं मम भैरवनाथ 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 संविदीयं मम भैरवनाथ त्वां प्रियमाप्य सुदर्शनमेकं त्वां प्रियमाप्य सुदर्शनमेकं दुर्लभम् अन्यजनैः समयज्ञं दुर्लभम् अन्यजनैः समयज्ञं सुब्रह्मण्यं भैरवनाथ 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 त्वं च महेश सदैव ममात्मा त्वं च महेश सदैव ममात्मा भैरवनाथ 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 भैरवनाथ
I think it was a speechless moments for all of us. We all were transported into the Barrowhood. Thank you, Mahati, for such a brilliant and blissful moments which you made available for us. May the blessings of Acharya Abhinav Gupta be with you for your all along in your journey of life. And all, I don't have any words. Padmaji, my pranam to you. I have no words to thank you for such a recreating of the Barrowwood moments today. There were tears of joy, tears of happiness. I don't know. I think you took us back to the time when Abhinav might have composed it and he would have been with his disciples. So my pranam to you, Padmaji. Thank you so much.
I must thank you for making us part of the Jayanti celebrations. It means a lot to us. Don't think we are physically, of course, very, very far from Kashmir, but mentally we are in Kashmir. So we are all with you. We are all
And
with you.
the fragrance of this will remain for much more time to come. The fragrance of this will remain much more time. So nice of you, ma'am. Thank you very much, ma'am.
We are one.
And once again, congratulations for this whole event of 7 days. It's a great achievement. It's created a lot of awareness. And congratulations for your special issue in Naad. Great contribution. I wish you translate it in other South Indian languages. The Naad should come in other languages also. You need to create that awareness.
Sure, madam, your blessings are there. As we say, everything is Shiv Ichha. So you have planted the Ichha. So let's see how Gyan and Kriya will take its shape.
It will. Thank you also so much. Thank you also.
Thank you. I request Mr. Sanjay Kaulji, you wanted to especially thank Madam Padmaji. Please unmute and give your thanks, vote of thanks to Madam Mahatiji, and of course to Professor Kapil Kapoor, who has, I think, has left the left the meeting. And Shri Sanjay Kaulji.
Padmaji, namaskar. And like Sunil ji said that it was speechless, it was mesmerizing to hear you, Padmaji. Like in one of the comments, Sunil Rana correctly commented that as if the nectar is floating from Mother Saraswati itself. How Karnasva explained with illustration was a feast to eyes. The performance was flow of pure energy and synergize the poetry, theater, music, and dance in one unit and not as separate entities. And it was displayed, the performance was a medium of expression. And you really need sadhana to perfect all this, and correctly said by you that Siddhi can't be without sadhana. And you brought out how Kashmiri Shaivism and Tamil Shaivism are so close, and still, because of the barrier of maybe language, we have not been able to read each other's scriptures. We have not, but Kashmiri Shaivism and Tamil Shaivism recognize Shiva as a cosmic dancer. You brought out in your today. Abhinav Gupta's Abhinav Bharti has been extremely useful in interpreting the Chidambaram series of Karnas at Nataraja temple. And like we had a conversation with you yesterday, and I feel, Dr. Padmaji, that your contribution and to this has been phenomenal. It is always a great learning experience to listen to Dr. Padmaji. I had an interaction with her yesterday, and it was spiritually satisfying. And today she has very clearly brought out how Abhinav Gupta synergized the intellect with spirit to explain Karnas. She brought out the Acharya, the philosopher of dynamism, the extent of which we can make his philosophy applicable to the modern world. We cannot do that with anyone else, which comes to our mind. And we have Padmaji, the testimony of all that. So we are very thankful to you, Padmaji, for being part of us today, and we feel blessed. And we are thankful to Sunil Rana and all the organizers that since last 1 week we have come across highly learned scholars who have vast knowledge and have applied it in perfecting the art. We are fortunate to have them among us. And on this occasion, we at Kakni have decided to dedicate ourselves in exploring Abhinav Gupta and spread the awareness in form of theater, dance shows, and other forms of art. To commence with today, we launch a podcast in the name of Acharya Abhinav Gupta. We have recorded around 5 episodes. The first one goes live in some time now, and link will be shared on the chat box. Due to COVID, the recording was restricted to homes, but we plan to have all podcasts recorded in studios with the best quality. I'm sure you'll enjoy it. And for the listeners, there is a podcast by with the interaction with Dr. Padmaji also. It has come up very well. It will also be live in a couple of days. Thank you very much, Padmaji. It has been we are so grateful to have you here with us. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Sanjay ji. When we started this series, Padmaji and all the listeners, we had no idea that the crescendo will come to this, or we will have such kind of a finale, or we could be giving such kind of a tribute to Mahamaheshwaracharya Abhinav Gupta. Last year we did, it was a one-day event. We never knew that the people across length and breadth of India and abroad as well has so much of veneration, respect, love, devotion towards the Mahamaheshwaracharya Abhinav Gupta. And then only we decided that let's keep this event for 7 days. And today, when we conclude, we feel that even these 7 days are very less to know about Mahamaheshwaracharya Abhinav Gupta. How little we know that these 7 days has passed like anything. Even for a year-long celebrations are very less for such a gigantic personality. And when you explain these aesthetic karanas about Nritya, and which was not very much known to us, because in Kashmir, for various obvious reasons, we are not very much connected to the Natya Shastras anymore. But when you brought this live, I think that it brought us back to the intellectual genius of Mahamaheshwaracharya Abhinav Gupta, means sitting at Dachigam or sitting at Kashmir, how he could integrate whole India into one magnum opus Abhinav Bharati and connect whole of India into one dance or into one Natya Shastra. So it was really a befitting tribute, Padmaji. My pranams to you, my blessings to Mahati and all everybody here, because it was such a blissful moment. I know when I spoke to you a few weeks back, I was not sure that this would come up so beautifully or nicely. Having seen you perform yourself in 2016 at Indira Gandhi National Center of Arts on Bharastuti, that dance sequence has always been in the back of my mind. And I always wanted that one day I could see you again doing that. And today that moment got recreated, all thanks to the Mahameshwaracharya Abhinav Gupta. And that's how we really have been blessed today. I request now Shri Surendra Mohan Mishra ji, if he is there, to thank Padmaji once again. And then we have a concluding shloka by Sumanya. And then we will conclude these 7 days of events today. Although it appears that let's keep on going on and on, but then we have to take a pause. And we have to then recreate ourselves. Maybe after some time, there will be new Abhinava thought in all of us, and then we can do something more on that. Surendra Mohan Mishra ji, if you are there, please unmute.
So I have no words actually. It's such a grand finale, and it has taken us back to Abhinav Gupta, the Mahamaheshwara and his Bhairava cave, as if we are just bidding him goodbye at the gate of the Bhairava cave. We are simple jivas, we have no power to be with him. But we pray that in some life, or in this life, even some occasion comes, that we have that Bhairava experience, at least to a small part in our life. Without being Bhairavized, we cannot experience what actually this Anu means, without being Mahat. And that is the essence of Abhinava, and Abhinava be a name or an epithet. So Abhinava stands as Abhinava. He's a great person. And this Mahati is the name of the Veena of Narada Muni. So this great small chap, what he has not done. And Madhuraja coming from Madurai, right up to Kashmir to learn at the feet of the great Acharya. This is united India. This is united India, South India, North India. They get united to Sankara and to Abhinava. These geniuses, these talents. So that is what we are. And they are now internationally known. We are known in Heidelberg, we are known in Oxford, everywhere else, because of Sankara, because of Abhinava, because of so many scholars, the predecessors of Abhinava. Maharshi Durvasa, we know very little about him. From him up to Abhinava, from Abhinava up to the present generation, the same flow of Saivite and Saktite spirit continues. I should say in the words of Kalidasa, this Tandu word is from the word Tani, the suffix is du, and it means Nritta. Nritta is only Gapta Vikshepa, and when Padartha Vishes is said it's Nritya, and this Tandu is said to be Nandi. But a question came up through Madam Padmaji that whether this Nandi is the same or not. We shall again look into that. But this Abhinav Bharati, because this third chapter, it's so difficult. We could never enter into that because we have the experience of dancing. So one has to be practical, this pragmatics of dance. As in Malavika Nimitta, one very beautiful thing Kalidasa tells, Devana Midama Mananti Munaya Shantam Kratum Chakshusam Rudre Neda Muma Kritabhyati Kare Swange Vibhaktam Vira Traigunyo Bhavamatra Loka Chaditam Nana Rasam Drishyate Natyam Bhinna Ruchere Janasya Bahudha Pekam Samaradhanam. On the stage, everyone finds his own dish. All dishes are supplied, just presented to every kind of audience. So one has to be a Sahridaya. Without Sahridaya, Kavi is nothing. Without Kavi, Sahridaya is nothing. And Kavi means also a dramatist. He's a poet, he's a prose writer, he's a dramatist, a storyteller. The word Kavi, it's not there in any other language in the world. divide between a prose writer and a poet. We don't. Kavi is everything. And Kavi is also Sahida himself. All the four kinds of people, they can be inside the Kavi, and that Kavihood that grows when it becomes Bhairava himself, one is the highest Kavi. So towards that, the things go, and the 7 days, it was a great feast. A great feast, the celebration of Mahamaheshwara Abhinav Acharya, and perhaps many people, and this should happen in a much better way, in excellent ways in the years to come. And Nada also, Madam Padmaji has great hopes, and that it will come also in Tamil. That's very good. And of Siddhanta Saivism also she spoke. So many technical points. She's a great scholar. Not only a dance, dance practitioner, a dance teacher, but she's a great scholar. And of Abhinava Bharati, one of the tertiary texts, and such a huge text, an Natya Shastra, we could write a commentary, except Abhinav Gupta, because he knew how to dance. He knew all these Karanas and Charis and everything else. And Indian, it is to be recreated, the Indian theater. We have not the Indian theater. Whenever we do a dance program, it's not Indian theater. The Indian theater is described in the Natya Shastra. So that way, perhaps, with coming back to Sanskrit, somebody was telling this Ayurveda perhaps. Sanskrit should have happened, but 75 years we have lost Sanskrit. Sanskrit could not come up. Otherwise, Abhinav Gupta would have come up very alive. And Professor Kapil Kapoor, rightly he pointed out, some of the things he was connecting to the European things in Shakespeare and other people. But Shakespeare also was influenced by Kalidasa, by Bhasa. His 12th night is nothing but a repetition of Bhasa's drama. So we have to know the whole world through our own literature, our own performances. So with these words, I again thank Madam Padmaji and Professor Kapil Kapoorji, and certainly Mahati, who has a great future because she is the Veena of Narada Muni. She is divine, and through the divine will, she will be great, and with the blessings of her teacher, such a great teacher. People should actually have such great teachers in all walks of life. So she is a real guru, and of the highest guru, Guruttama, as in that Madhuraja Sutra it comes, and Mahamaheshwara Abhinav Gupta Acharya. So we bow down to him, that guru, and that Mannatha, Sri Jagannatho, Madguru, Sri Jagadguru, Madatma, Sarvabhutatma, Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha, that Mahamaheshwara, that Mahamaheshwara, Parama Guru, we bow down to him with all respect, with all heart and mind. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Sumanya, if you are there, please recite the Shanti Mantra so that we can conclude this meeting.
Sunil, before you go to her, a brief observation for the concluding session.
Yeah, please, Magnu Sahab.
Yeah. First of all, I must congratulate you. You deserve an appreciation, and your team, Dr. Mahesh, Sanjay, and all of you. And you referred to Nod, and I think it should be serialized. I request Padmaji, since there is going to be a big famous temple in Jammu, jiska abhi shuruaat ki gayi hai, maybe Padmaji can open a small center there to teach the dance, and we should remember us of the great Abhinav Gupta.
Very good, very good, very good.
And the knowledge which we have gathered, our boss Veena ji started it with Saraswati's Veena, and it percolated down to the all, and especially I am now more strengthened about the whole aspect of the such a vast and depth of Abhinav Gupta's. And I feel that, as I repeated earlier also, we need to popularize it in a simple, saral bhasha to reach to the people. And I will request you again, you have involved the academician from different universities. Let it be today. They said we will do it, but let us see that it is implemented. Sakar, Sarthak, or Anek Vyakti ke, or Charitarth Kare Abhinav Gupta ka. That is my request to you. Thank you very much again.
Thank you, Wangu Sahab. Sonia, please unmute. Padma ji, you want to say something before we we move to Shanti Mantra?
No, she has to do that. She has to do that.
Okay.
Sankalp karegi.
Well, we have created a memorial for Bharata Muni. I think it's the first of its kind. And as part of it, we have created a icon of Abhinav Gupta in granite. That is what you see in the invite that Sunil ji has designed. My photograph with Acharya icon there. And we have a conference hall, which is part of Bharata Muni Museum. And the museum has a new set of 108 Karana sculptures of Shiva and Parvati, all in granite. And also other artifacts relating to dances of Southeast Asia, and an exhibition of 100 years of Indian classical dance. And the conference hall in the center of the museum is named after Abhinav Gupta. It's called Abhinav Gupta Conference Hall.
Lovely, lovely.
And
kudos to you.
this is all that we could do from here. I'm happy to say that it was Sri Sri Ravi Shankar who came and inaugurated the museum and the hall. One day, all of you scholars must come there, make use of that conference hall, and maybe Sunil ji can convene another conference. Maybe we'll involve more South Indians in that. And I'm hoping this dream will come true someday. All of you are welcome to see after the pandemic. Now, as part of the lockdown, our museum is under lock and key. With Abhinav Gupta Padacharya's blessings, humanity must be saved from pandemic. That's
Thank
the
you,
first
madam.
break.
Thank you, madam. Surely one day we will come down all from north to see your theatre there.
Bruto is not there. She's a principal secretary.
I've been suddenly asked to someday start a center in Jammu or wherever it is. If it is Acharya's wish, it will happen. I'm not saying I will do it. I won't say I will not do it. At this stage of my life, if that has to happen, let it happen. It is Acharya's wish.
Sure, madam. Thank you so much. And I'm sure Acharya will bless for the good, for the sake of humanity and shoot here in the state as well. Now, Sumanya, can you now conclude with the Shanti Mantra, and then we will conclude this meeting?
अनंत संसार समुद्र तार नौकायिताभ्यां गुरुभक्तिदाभ्यां वैराग्य साम्राज्य पूजनाभ्यां नमो नमः श्री गुरुपादुकाभ्यां कवित्ववारा शिनिशाकराभ्यां दुर्भाग्यदावा बुधमालिकाभ्यां दूरीकृतानम्रविपतिताभ्यां नमो नमः श्रीगुरुपादुकाभ्यां नताययो श्रीपतितां समीयुं कदाचिदप्याशु दरिद्रवर्याः मूकाश्च वाचस्पतितां हिताभ्यां नमो नमः श्रीगुरुपादुकाभ्यां नालीकनिकाशपदारिताभ्यां नानाविमोहादिनिवारिकाभ्यां नमज्जनाभीष्टततीव्रताभ्यां नमो नमः श्रीगुरुपादुकाभ्यां नृपालिमौली व्रजरत्नकान्ति सरित विराज झषकन्यकाभ्यां नृपप्रदाभ्यां नतलोकपङ्क्तेः नमो नमः श्रीगुरुपादुकाभ्यां पापान्धकारार्कपरम्पराभ्यां तापत्रयाहीन्द्रखगेश्वराभ्यां जाड्याधिशंशोषणमाडवाभ्यां नमो नमः श्रीगुरुपादुकाभ्यां नमो नमः श्रीगुरुपादुकाभ्याम् ॐ द्योः शान्तिः आपः शान्तिः अन्तरिक्षगं शान्तिः पृथिवी शान्तिः आपः शान्तिः ओषधायः शान्तिः वनस्पतयः शान्तिः विश्वदेव शान्तिः ब्रह्म शान्तिः सर्वं शान्तिः शान्तिरेव शान्तिः सामा शान्तिरेधि ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः
Mr. Fellow.
Thank you, Sumanya. Thank you so much. I'm taking it off